The Asua were an ancient Turkic people descended from pastoral communities in Mongolia who migrated to western Anatolia in the 16th century BCE. Their name was related to the Mongolian phrase Aduovug, meaning horse people or equestrian nomads, as they raised horses and cattle. The Asua kingdom formed a coalition with Mycenaean Greece against the Hittites, who were nonetheless eventually able to make Asua a vassal state. The portrait of the Asua warrior king Tarkasnawa was carved into the side of Mount Nif near the city of Izmir, Turkey. His successor Tantalus was found guilty of unethical conduct and sentenced to be chained in a cave with an underground pond called Tartarus, similar to Keklik Cave and Karain Cave in western Anatolia. Tantalus was succeeded by Brotias, regarded as the last great Asua king, and nicknamed Manes, or the ancestor. During his reign in the 12th century BCE, the military leader Pisa colonized the Aegean Islands and the Peloponnese and founded a city called Pisa near Olympia. He also tried to attack Egypt, but his fleet was repulsed by Pharaoh Ramesses III at the shores of the Nile Delta. This major conflict is recorded on the walls of the pharaoh's mortuary temple at Mehmet Habu. During the reign of his son Attis, western Anatolia was beset by severe famine and turmoil. Most cities and villages were pillaged or destroyed. King Attis decided to halve the population, one half to remain in their homeland and the other to set off in search of new lands to settle. Lots were drawn and Attis appointed himself to stay, while one of his sons, named Tyrrhenus, led a fleet to the central Mediterranean Sea and landed in the Italian region of Tuscany, where he founded another city named Pisa. The Tyrrhenian Sea off the western coast of Italy is named after Tyrrhenus. The newly founded settlement soon came in contact with the Villanovan people living in the Apennines, and the fusion of their cultures gave rise to the so-called Etruscan civilization. The territorial extent of the Etruscan people reached its maximum around 750 BCE, expanding into the Po Valley to the north and Lazio to the south, with Tuscany remaining the center of their culture and Pisa being an important port. Livorno province, which is a narrow strip of coastline running south from Pisa all the way to Piombino, has been dubbed the Etruscan coast. The Etruscan alphabet was a standardization of the runic alphabets used by the ancient Turkic and Indo-European peoples from Mongolia to the Eurasian steppes and the Balkan Peninsula. Several old Italic scripts, including the Latin alphabet, derived from it. The Etruscan language was of Turkic origin, remotely related to the modern Mongolian and Hungarian languages. The symbols of the Etruscan religion were the double-bitted axe called labris and the hatchet called sagaris, which were used as ritual or battle weapons by priests and women warriors. The Italian term fascismo, or fascism, is derived from fascio or fascis, which was a bundle of wooden rods bound to an axe, descended from the sagaris as a symbol of strength and unity. The Etruscan system of belief was an immanent polytheism, tracing its origins in Central Asia. The three main Etruscan deities were the sky god Tinia, his consort Uni, and Mother Earth, Sel. In the ancient shamanistic religion of Mongolia, the sky god is Tengri, his consort Ume, and the earth is called Delhi. The mining and commerce of metals led to an enrichment of the Etruscans and to the expansion of their influence throughout the Mediterranean Sea. Here their interests collided with those of the Greeks, so the Etruscans allied themselves with the Carthaginians, who were enemies of the Greeks. From the 8th to the 3rd centuries BCE, several wars were fought between the Etruscans and the Latins. The Tiber River became the boundary that separated their territories. Eventually, the Etruscans were assimilated into Roman culture. That said, Etruscan influence on the ancient Roman civilization was profound. It was from the Etruscans that the Romans inherited gladiator games, hydraulic engineering, temple design, and religious rites. The city of Pisa, in the heart of the Etruscan land, was founded on the Tyrrhenian coast, but due to alluvial sediments from the Arno and Sircia rivers, the shore moved west. About 3,000 years after its foundation, Pisa is currently located almost 10 kilometers from the coast. Ships could reach the city by sailing up the Arno until the 16th century. Pisa served as a base for Roman naval expeditions against Ligurians, Gauls, and Carthaginians. Today, Pisa contains more than 20 historic churches, several medieval palaces, and various bridges across the Arno River. Pisan people still celebrate their New Year's Day on March 25th, following the Etruscan tradition of the vernal equinox festival, related to the Nowruz festival, which is still held in Central Asia and Anatolia from the 20th to the 26th of March, marking the beginning of spring. In the 9th century, Pisa was attacked by Vikings led by Bjorn Ironside. Saracen pirates raided the city several times until, in the 11th century, the Pisan navy conquered Carthage, whence the Saracens came. A war began in 1119 when the Genoese attacked several Pisan galleys and sacked Pisa's coastal suburbs. In 1180, the two cities agreed to a ceasefire, but in 1284, the Genoese destroyed the port in the dramatic Battle of Meloria. Leonardo Fibonacci was born in Pisa in 1170 and traveled with his father to Algeria as a young boy and was educated there. In 1202, he completed his Liber Abaci, which popularized Hindu-Arabic numerals and the so-called Fibonacci numbers in Europe. He was a guest of Emperor Frederick II, who enjoyed mathematics and science, and stimulated the improvement of the education system in Pisa. In the 13th century, Italy was beset by the strife of the Ghibellines, who sided with the Holy Roman Emperor, and the Guelphs, who sided with the Pope. Pisa was controlled by the Ghibellines, while its rival Genoa was controlled by the Guelphs. Count Ugolino was born in Pisa in 1220. but allied himself with the Visconti family, who were the leaders of the Guelphs in Pisa. Ugolino was banished, and with the help of Charles I of Anjou, he attacked his native city and forced it to pardon him and all the other Guelph exiles. So Ugolino returned to Pisa and was appointed sea captain to fight the Genoese fleet, but surrendered and withdrew, leaving many Ghibelline peasants in the hands of the enemy. He did nothing to have them released because of their political orientation. Ugolino even managed to be elected governor of Pisa and nearly destroyed the city's economy. During the ensuing riots, he killed a nephew of the local archbishop. Ugolino was finally locked up in a dungeon for life with his sons and grandsons, and the keys were thrown into the river. The University of Pisa was founded in 1343, and its famous botanical garden was inaugurated about 200 years later. The Tower of Pisa is among the most famous monuments in Italy. It is known worldwide for its nearly 4-degree lean. The tower began to lean during construction in the 12th century due to subsidence of the soil. By 1990, the tilt had reached 5.5 degrees, so it had to be reduced lest the tower might topple. Galileo Galilei dropped 2 cannonballs of different masses from the tower to demonstrate that their speed of descent was independent of their mass, in keeping with the law of free fall. Galileo was born in Pisa in 1564. As a young man, he was a lutenist like his father. He enrolled at the University of Pisa for a medical degree, but soon realized he had a flair for mathematics, drawing, and natural philosophy. In 1588, he obtained the position of instructor in the Academy of Art and Design, and invented the thermoscope and the proportional compass. His contributions to observational astronomy include the telescopic confirmation of the phases of Venus, the discovery of the 4 largest satellites of Jupiter, the description of Saturn's rings, and the analysis of sunspots. Galileo's championing of heliocentrism and Copernicanism met with opposition from the Church, as well as Christian astronomers. He was tried by the Inquisition, forced to recant, and imprisoned in a dungeon. He purportedly muttered the rebellious phrase "Eppur si muove," which translates to "albeit it does move," in reference to the Earth rotating and revolving around the Sun. On the following day, his sentence was commuted to house arrest, under which he remained for the rest of his life. Galileo was also ordered to read the 7 penitential psalms once a week for the next 3 years. He wrote a book on comets, 2 on the ebb and flow of tides, and several on astronomy and physics. The most descriptive one being The Starry Messenger, which dealt with the Milky Galaxy, the Pleiades, and the Moon in particular. Giuseppe Averani, born in Pisa in 1662, was the philosopher who formed the intellectual basis for the Tuscan Enlightenment movement. He was one of the most celebrated legal teachers of his time. Several philosophical clubs were formed in Pisa in the 16th and 17th centuries, such as the Academy of the Awakened, the Academy of the Lunatics, and the Academy of the Occultists. Giuseppe founded the Academy of the Oppressed, which was strongly opposed to the Church's influence in philosophical and scientific matters. Born in a Pisa suburb in 1763, Gaetano Polidori was the son of a renowned physician and poet. Gaetano wrote an autobiographical story called The House of Terror and translated into Italian John Milton's Paradise Lost and Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto. He married an English woman and had 4 sons and 4 daughters. His eldest son, named John William Polidori, was a physician to Lord Byron and the author of the first vampire story in English, namely, The Vampire. Born in Pisa in 1914, Silvano Arrietty was regarded as one of the world's foremost authorities on schizophrenia. He frequently sent schizophrenic patients to receive electroconvulsive shock therapy in order to reduce their symptoms. He wrote the famous book The Will to Be Human, which deals with the mysteries of self-awareness and decision-making, and another essay called Creativity, the Magic Synthesis. He was linked to Volterra's lunatic asylum, founded in 1888 and notorious for its brutal treatment of inmates, which remained open until 1978. Volterra is a hilltop town about 50 kilometers southeast of Pisa. The most imposing building in the area is the ancient castle, which was for some time inhabited by Lawrence the Magnificent of the Medici family. The name Volterra is a Latin transliteration of the Etruscan name Velathri, which is cognate with the Indo-Iranian Vayuvata, the Turkic Yelata, and the Mongolian Salhetseg, which refer to the angelic and demonic aspects of the wind, as the city is known for its windy weather. Volterra is said to be still haunted by the Etruscan ghosts called manes. When Volterra was founded, a crypt was dug at the foot of the hill, representing a gate to the netherworld. The vault was supported by one central pillar. The Etruscan word manes, meaning ancestor or revenant, is cognate with the Indo-Iranian word manu, that is progenitor or founder, and the Sanskrit manas, that translates to mind or spirit, and is related to the Mongolian term mergen, meaning sage or hero. The symbols of Volterra are the dragon and griffin, representing the struggle between good and evil, and the goddess Vanth, representing glory in the afterlife. Less than 10 kilometers east of Pisa is Mount Veruca, on which stood the most important fortress to defend the city from land attacks. It was connected to a lookout tower atop a crag by the Arno River, and all around the mountain are caves and ancient tunnels. The area was visited and described by the poet Dante Alighieri in the 13th century. About 40 kilometers south of Pisa, in the rolling hills of central Tuscany, 2 Tibetan lamas founded the Buddhist Institute Tsongkhapa in 1977. With a Mongolian father and a Tibetan mother, Tsongkhapa was born in Amdo today's Qinghai province of China, in 1357. Tsongkhapa was an important monk of the Sakya school and founded the Gelugpa, or Yellow Hat sect, near Lhasa, Tibet, in 1409. The Buddhist Institute Tsongkhapa, housed in a medieval castle, accommodates a community of monks and is equipped with stupas, prayer wheels, and a large statue of Avalokiteshvara, also known as Chenrezig in Tibetan. The Dalai Lama, who has visited the institute several times, is considered to be the incarnation of Avalokiteshvara.